What's the one thing you can do to stand out that nobody else has done?
Write a handwritten note.
Right. Regular mail? No. FedEx, man. You
Overnight.
send the FedEx overnight thank you letter. It's the greatest thing you can do. Think about what your time is worth. If you really prepared 4 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, if you really want that job, what's 10 hours worth, right? $2,
Yeah. All right, guys, we got the most prepared man in the world, Randall Kaplan. Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Of course.
Big fan.
Your show is really fun, man.
Thanks for doing that. I can't wait to hear that. There's some great stuff in there.
Yeah, you're really good at diving deep. You said you did 12 hours of research
on that. And usually it's more, but this thing just came down the pike, I think last week, and I had Dana White, who I did yesterday, 2-hour show with him. Yeah. I was on vacation when I got the news, hey, we're doing the show. So that meant late nights on the weekend. Told my wife, not going to see her very much this weekend.
Yeah.
So Sunday was, I think, started at 6:30 in the morning and had dinner and lunch with my kids. And then I think I ended around 2:15 in the morning. Make sure I got my prep done.
Wow.
Then I had prep time for you on Monday. You were Sean Kelly Monday, and it was Dana White Tuesday.
Full day. I'm honored, man.
Full day.
And you're a 9-figure man, so a full day for you is worth a lot of money. So I appreciate that.
It's personal relationships are everything in life. So I never think about it that way.
Wow.
Got time for everybody.
You really value your time and your connections then.
I value my relationships, and I never forget where I came from, and I always want to give back and always want to spend time on things that I care for. It's very important for me to be on your show. Someone mentioned your show to me around 6 months ago, so you were on the list. And then when it came time, Dylan said, oh, yeah, I know Sean. I'm actually texting with him right now. I said, I want Sean on my show, and it's just amazing how relationships matter, and here we are. I'm psyched to be here.
Here we are, man. And Dylan's a great dude also.
Yeah, Dylan Van Ness, shout out to him.
Shout out to Dylan. But seriously, dedicating a full day, I mean, there's hosts that don't do any prep, and I feel like your show's really going to excel because of that. I think that's your competitive edge.
I appreciate that. Every guest I've ever had, from the CEO of Goldman Sachs to David Rubenstein, has all said I'm the most prepared person in the room, and that's been one of the secrets to my success over my career. My goal is always to be the most always to be the most prepared person to walk into any room, and people don't do it. It's just shocking to me.
It is shocking. You need at least some awareness, right?
You spend 19 years of schooling from kindergarten through college, over 25,000 hours of studying. It's a colossal investment of time and money. Most people also graduate with a huge amount of student debt. So why wouldn't you spend an extra 40 hours preparing for that interview, 40 hours to land that job among stiff competition? It's a no-brainer. Nobody does it.
You should know your interviewer, right?
You should know your interviewer. People will come into my office, and I'll just lop in right away. I'll throw in the throwaway question, what's my dog's name? People are like, what? What's your dog's name? It's amazing. 50% of people don't get it. It's on my website. My dog's name is Karma. I mean, it's not like it's fluffy, right? And so it's a unique name. And people find this crazy, but I've had people walk in and walk out in 30 seconds.
Wow. So if they don't know the dog's name,
bye.
Damn.
Bye.
So you got some high standards.
I mean, I'm busy, and I think it's a respect thing as well. I think you're coming in for a meeting. They either want an investment from me, they want a job, or they want advice. Yeah. And my time is valuable. They're asking me for something, so I want them to show me some level of preparation and respect that they actually took time to prepare before they walk in the door.
What percentage of investment pitches do you actually invest in, you'd say?
Less than 1%.
Wow. That is very low.
It's low. I mean, all of my deals throughout the years have come from people that I've known for years, or from people that I respect and people that have very good track records. When I started my company in 1999, our tech company had gone public, Akamai Technologies, and you're kind of a thing, right? At that point, it's you're part of this crazy thing that you read about. You make all this money, supposedly. I mean, it's paper wealth, so no one really knows what you're worth. Right. And then people are said, oh, I want you in the cap chart because you're a co-founder of this company. But I always thought, all right, I'm going to invest with high-quality people with long track records. I want to get to know people. And every deal we've ever done has come through a high-quality referral source. We've almost done a couple deals. People reach out to me on LinkedIn, but now I've maxed out. You can only have 30,000
You had 30,000
connections. I've got 29,000, I think 963 right now.
Wow.
So we're We're deep.
Are you tired of ordering on a menu in a different country only to be served snails? Why not actually speak the language and order what you want? That's where Babbel comes in. Speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that gets you talking. Wasting hundreds of dollars on private tutors is the old school way of learning a new language. Babbel's 10-minute lessons are quick and handcrafted by over 200 language experts, ready to get you talking your way to a new language in just 3 weeks. Because talking is the key to really knowing any language. Babbel's advanced speech recognition is like having a personal language guru in your pocket, massaging your pronunciation whenever you open your mouth. With Babbel, you can learn everything you need from vocabulary to culture while holding your own in conversation with anybody. All it takes is just about 10 minutes a day. It's designed by real people for having real conversations, and it gets you talking. I've been going to a lot of Spanish-speaking countries over the last few months, and Babbel has come in clutch. I now know how to order food and ask where the restroom is when I travel. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/social hour. That's 60% off at babbel.com/social hour, spelled BABBEL.com/social hour. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I don't know what you call it, defriending people.
I hit that on Facebook.
Just these random people who reach out to me years ago.
Yeah.
So
that is impressive.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's important to know your partners, do your homework, due diligence and preparation. Even in the due diligence phase, it's just everything. It's shocking to me how many high quality investment firms don't do due diligence. And one of the biggest mistakes that you can make when looking to put money behind something is relying on someone else's due diligence.
You saw what happened with FTX.
I thought so. I was at the SALT conference, Scaramucci's conference 3 years ago. Crypto was all the thing. He had all the crypto people there.
Yeah.
Mooch is a great guy. The conference is amazing. And, Sam Bankman-Fried is there. He's got the hoodie on. I mean, everyone thought this guy was the king. You got billionaires there. You got David Rubenstein there and Kevin O'Leary and all these very successful people. And they were all bowing down to Sam.
Wow.
Right. I mean, the guy was worth I don't know what he's worth on paper. $25 billion at that point. And it's a great example of people not doing due diligence. Now, when there's fraud involved, it's very hard sometimes to, when hits the fan, that's when you can say, okay, I mean,
yeah,
I get it now. But sometimes it's just very, very hard to learn what's going on. But don't rely on people doing due diligence for you. And on the flip side, my due diligence has led me into some of the most successful deals that I've done.
And I like that you not only do the research, right, but you take action. Because a lot of people read books and they analyze stuff for hours, but they don't do anything.
I mean, I've interviewed for jobs at Sun America, which is my big break. I was reading for my meeting with my boss, Eli Broad, who was at the time one of only 3 people who started 2 Fortune 500 companies. I prepared 40 hours for that interview.
Wow.
So I prepared a list of 20 questions that he was probably going to ask me, and then I had 20 that I wanted to fire away, and I mean fire away against him. And these questions included information from the footnotes of the financial statements regarding GAAP accounting principles that I had no clue what they meant. It took hours to understand what they meant.
Dang.
It's like when you pop someone with that question, it's like, holy where did that come from?
Yeah, and you're applying for an assistant role, right?
Well, it was a managing director role. I mean, that role was, you're meeting with investment banks. So it's not, you're not getting coffee in that role.
Yeah.
Assistant to the chairman for a guy who had started 2 Fortune 500 companies. You're kind of the right-hand person, right? So you're creating 100-page financial models. I had no experience, doing that. I was a lawyer. I had to learn, in 2 weeks. So it's a crazy, crazy job, but I did crazy things to get that job.
I love it. What type of lawyer were you?
I was a corporate and tax lawyer. I worked full-time my 3rd year in law school. I went to Northwestern. I did very, very well there, accepted a job in Chicago, worked basically full-time my 3rd year, was working with people in LA, dating a girl in Los Angeles, come out, spring break, went out, met the people I was working with, come work here, said, okay, LA, it's great. Didn't know anybody, had $3,000 in the bank, didn't know anyone when I moved here, lost my job 5.5 weeks after moving here.
Wow, what'd you do?
Layoffs, so yeah, exactly, right? Did you steal or do something from the company? Layoffs.
Oh.
So I remember I got an email, which was brand new then, from the library in Chicago saying, please turn in your library books before you go home today.
Damn.
Like, holy So I'm now walking around the law firm. All the doors are closed. No one, you got the silent treatment. Then you get the summons down to the conference room, and my boss and the managers sitting there, and here you go.
Wow.
Brutal.
So you moved there, and now you had no plan.
I had no plan, and the legal market wasn't good, so I got a job in Costa Mesa, Orange County. Had never heard of Orange County. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. Grew up in Detroit, living in Chicago, and I said, okay, well, I was weeks away from waiting tables. My money was running out, so I drove 3 hours each day there and to and from work on the 405 freeway, which is brutal. Some days it took me 3 hours to get there or 3 hours to come home, but every morning I'd leave at 5:30 and I go to the bagel store, right? Hot bagels, open at 5:30. It was me and Suge Knight coming 3 mornings a week. He was there. He had a Ford Bronco open. It was like he was broadcasting a concert. The music was so loud. No one was going to with him, right? Because he's Suge, and he had some other dude next to him who was even bigger than he was. And so after a while, Suge and I, after around 6 months, had a nodding relationship.
Okay.
Like, hey.
That is pretty legendary, dude.
So,
and this was before he blew up, or?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, he was big. I mean, clearly had a lot of problems later on.
Yeah.
But I mean, Suge was big, and was the kind of guy where you look with, and at first you didn't even want to look at him. He was scary, but yeah. I mean, finally, Suge was my nodding friend.
Okay. Did you ever talk?
No.
Okay.
Like, hey man, what's up? Hey man, what's up?
Just respect.
They were rolling in from the night, and I'm rolling out. You're going to work
for the day.
Yeah, for the day. So then I had that job 6 months. I hated it. Didn't have any friends here. Went to the managing partner of the big firm in Los Angeles. Said I want to move. He said, no. If you want to move, you got to go down to Costa Mesa. I said, I'm not doing that. So I'm now looking for my third job in 8 months.
Wow.
Brutal. I own, I think, the worst. The number one worst record for the start of a legal career at a good school ever.
Yeah.
But man, it helped make me who I am today.
Wow. So Northwestern's one of the best for legal?
Yeah, Northwestern, I think it's ranked top 10 law school. Dang. And Michigan is where I went beforehand. University of Michigan, I graduated top 1% of my class. And for me, my grades were a ticket to my future.
Okay.
I thought, all right, I didn't have a lot of money growing up. I remember there was this girl I liked at Michigan, Wendy Weiss, and I don't know if you're out there, and I don't know what your married name is today, but I finally had the courage, ask her out, and said, okay, great. And I was so excited. I took her to Little Caesars Pizza Kitchen, and we sat at the counter. Wow. It was what I could afford, and that was one and done.
Yeah.
So
not a good first impression.
I just don't think she liked either she didn't like the pizza, or she didn't like what I was doing with her. Yeah. I don't know. I think she wanted a nice dinner, but so. That's how it goes. Yeah.
So let's talk about the importance of luck, because you did all the right things. You got a law degree. Yeah. On paper, you should have been making 6 figures a year.
Well, back then, $70,000 a year from a top law school.
Got it. So $70,000, and you're not making that. So would you consider that bad luck?
Well, I am making that, right? Because that was my salary coming to Los Angeles at the big firm. I figured, all right, I mean, I'm going to live next to the Jack in the Box, which I did. And I was going to save hopefully $20,000 a year, because ultimately I sold T-shirts in college. I knew I wanted to have my own business. I had the gene, but I didn't have the idea or the confidence to go out and start my own company. So my plan was save money, go to work at a big firm, save $20,000 a year, whatever it would be. And I mean, you're living cheaply when you're making $70,000 a year and you want to save 20.
Right.
So to save up enough money to bet on myself.
Got it.
But so much of our career success is based on luck. I mean, it's just, I think so many things are the timing, but I do think, I mean, people say this, you create your own luck. And my thing is preparation. And what I tell people is, oh, no one's hiring, or no, it's a bad time to get a job. Everybody's hiring. Every single person in the world is hiring. If you're the kind of person who writes a 3-page tab, single space letter listing every job someone had ever had, that came with a plastic cover, quote someone that they had given at some point in their career with letters, transcripts, interesting things that they've done, comes in a spiral binder, you're going to get a meeting with every single person, which is what I did, and which someone actually sent to me, I think a week or two ago. And I'm like,
love it.
That guy heard me on a podcast. He heard me as a guest. He heard my show, and he pulled a Randy Kaplan on my show. I'm like, but that's how you do it.
I love it. You got to take that extra step, right?
It's not an extra step. That is not it. It's 100 extra steps. Do what nobody else has done, and that's been a hallmark of my career, and it's part of my teaching and coaching.
Yeah.
So here's one for you. It's simple. One of the things that you think about is, okay, what kind of impression can I make? What can I do differently than everybody else, right? You go to a meeting with someone, interview, meeting, whatever the case may be, send a thank you letter, right? So you're doing it on Zoom. My daughter goes to Cornell, right? It's a great school.
Ivy League, right?
What?
Ivy League?
Yeah. You know, she does well. I personally don't care how well my kids do in school. I care they try their best, right? She happens to be a very good student, obviously, and I think she has like something sick, like a 3.95 GPA there, which is crazy. Hard worker, and she's looking for jobs. She goes into the career placement office, and she says, "Yeah, you have 2 days to write that thank you letter." That's the worst piece of advice I've ever heard in my life. It's ridiculous, right? I think, and people will send, so that email should come out in 10 minutes, right? I mean, think about it. You're the employer, right? Would you want to see an email within 10 minutes or 12 hours later?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, what about 1 minute?
Even better.
Okay, so here's one for you. Okay, you're on a Zoom, right? Would you rather receive a handwritten note or an email?
Handwritten.
100% of the time. How many people write handwritten notes?
Not many.
Less than 1%. Maybe I've seen 1 to 3%, right? People listen to my show, they come in, if they've done their homework on me, they're always sending me notes, okay?
Right.
So you're in virus or whatever, you're in New York, you're doing a Zoom. What's the one thing you can do to stand out that nobody else has done?
Write a handwritten note.
Right. Regular mail? No. FedEx, man. You
Overnight.
send a FedEx overnight thank you letter. It's the greatest thing you can do. So think about that. It costs you $20,
Yeah.
right? Think about what your time is worth. If you really prepared 4 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, if you really want that job, what's 10 hours worth, right? $2,
Yeah.
for 60 minutes. It's crazy. You send that thank you note, that person's going to remember you for the rest of their life. They're going to be teaching what you did to other people. So I'm the master of the FedEx thank you letter, and I coach that, and people do it, and the response is insane.
I bet. You got to patent that, man. That's a $1 million idea.
Well, it's part of my coaching, part of my mentoring. People are now paying me for my coaching.
Yeah.
DM me if you want some coaching, but this works.
I love that. Do you ever feel like it's too much mental load being over prepared? Like, do you feel like you get in your own head at times?
No, never.
Okay.
Right. Sometimes I'll walk in. I mean, I still get nervous, right? We did a show this morning, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nervous coming in. I did Dana White
Right.
yesterday. I mean, you're a big deal. He's a big deal. I get nervous, right? You sit down and I'm very prepared, and then you're there. I mean,
Yeah.
Dana and I met last year at the Scale Conference, this incredible conference in Vegas. Kelly O'Connor put on the show, one of the best conferences ever. Listen to my show. We had met 14 years before, which I didn't really remember. I recognized her name when she DM'd me.
Yep.
And she said, will you moderate, just you two, Dana White, at the Grand Ballroom, at the Bellagio, live interview on stage? In
No questions prepared.
2 weeks notice.
Oh, 2 weeks notice.
So I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, I'll do that. And holy I got a lot to prepare for that. And I smoked it.
You crushed it. That's why he went on your show, man.
Crushed it, yeah. I mean, we had a great run. Made him cry on my show.
Yep.
Made him cry in the Grand Ballroom. And then he cried on my show again yesterday a couple of times. So did I, by the way.
I mean, this is a grown man running the UFC Fight League, and he's crying on your show.
He's crying in front of 2,000 people.
Yeah. Live.
Live. He said, this is an Oprah moment. I was not expecting this.
Yeah. You're good at evoking emotion out of people. What do you think it is about how you present stuff?
I think it's real. I think being real with people. I know a lot of people. I listen to podcasts that he's done, and everyone wants to talk about the fight business, right? Very few people are going into his background, his details. I start with parents right away. I want to know what people are made of. I think parents influence how we grow up. You and I talked about your parents. So many of my guests, successful people, had difficult childhoods for whatever reason. Parents, bullied, you were.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to know where people come from to set the stage for their future. And then as we go through and we talk about background, career, education, ups, down, challenges, and then we get into some of the nitty-gritty questions, which is, you lost your job, but when people talk about their family and their kids and charity and helping others, I mean, when I talk about my kids, I get choked up. I mean, my team will tell you, I mean, I've cried on a bunch of shows.
Love it.
Yeah, Lele Pons cried on my show. Kevin O'Leary cried on my show. Sharon Stone cried on my show. Yeah, we've had some good ones, but I think the connection is very important with people, and I think it's people being real.
Yeah,
people showing their real side. I think I'm a very genuine person, and I want to bring out the best of people and who they are.
Right. It's important to show that side of people because it's something I think a lot of men suppressed, trying to look a certain way.
100%. I mean, I used to be afraid, to cry in front of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I still am. I mean, it's embarrassing to me, but it is who I am. I mean, my kids say, "You cried during American Idol, Dad, and America's Got Talent." And
yeah, I've cried at that show.
I do, because it's the American dream. You're the American dream. I'm the American dream. You see all these people that come from nowhere, and they're just, I mean, look at who they are today. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's a great show. That one and Shark Tank, definitely cried to both of those.
Yeah. Mark Cuban was on my show, and he interviewed this woman. I believe she was a black woman that made makeup for young black women, and she was crushing it. And people passed on the show. People passed. Mark thought she was going to get another deal, and Mark invested in it because he wanted this girl to mentor his 2 children.
Wow.
And you could see him tearing up on the show.
Crazy.
As he talked about his kids. So when he was on my show, I questioned him about that. As I teared up thinking about that girl and his kids, because when I talk about my kids, it's the same thing. It's very raw for me to talk about my kids.
Right. Do you have mentors for your kids, or are you the main mentor?
It's interesting. I do, and each child has a different mentor. My girls have different mentors. There's this kid that came to me. He was a sophomore in college at UCLA, Ricky Horwitz. We worked together for 4.5 years. Lead intern, the second summer, come back to manage a program the following year.
Wow.
And then came and worked with me for 2.5 years. Kid's a rock star.
Yeah.
And has gone on to make millions and millions of dollars. He's doing all kinds of crazy things. And he's now mentoring my son, Charlie, who's 20 years old, which is really, really cool. Ricky's now my boy, my man, good friend, and he's mentoring my son, which is incredible. In fact, my son now lobbies Ricky to lobby me for things that Charlie, my son, wants me to do that I'm not going to do.
Yeah. Wow.
And so it works.
Went from intern to your son's mentor. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me feel so good.
Yeah. That shows that you have good growth within the company too.
We have a small company I like to promote from within. Intern program has been a central part of my professional life. I created an intern program that I would have wanted when I was younger. It's life-changing. It's a 12-week formal program, 8 to 6. Do not show up at 8:01.
You won't get let in?
Huh?
You won't get let in?
It's not getting let in. I'm going to ask in front of everyone, why are you late? Right? So it's and it happens the first time. It's like, oh God, we send a detailed memo to all the interns a month before. These are all the things that you should do. Matt Hickerson is a key part of my team now, my right-hand person. Did a test drive before the internship, 90 minutes away. You want to know how long it was going to take to get there? It's great.
Wow.
But it's a 12-week formal program. I spend 60 to 90 minutes per day with them, teaching them. Speakers every week. You said we're going to come in and do my show,
yeah, for sure,
or do the program.
I'd love to do
talk
that.
To the interns. It's life-changing for them, and it's great. So we hire the lead interns. So we hire the best interns to be leads the following summer. They do the interviewing and they do the hiring. I think it's the only program in the country, maybe the world, we have 19-year-old kids interviewing, hiring, and managing their peers.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
So I typically hire some of the lead interns if they're not going to work at Goldman Sachs, investment banking, which a lot of them do. I mean, these kids can go work wherever they want because on their resume, it looks incredible.
So it holds that much weight to intern?
To put it on the resume, what you've done.
Yeah.
And we have 4,000 applications this year for our program. They look through 4,000 applications. It takes a ton of time. I don't touch the resumes until the class is hired. So we have 36. I get a stack of 36 resumes, and then I'm going through them. And that's it. And I get them 2 weeks before the program starts.
Crazy.
Which is mid-May.
And what was the reasoning you started this?
I wanted to teach and promote and motivate kids and teach them what you didn't learn in college and make it life-changing for them. So we talk about my career, what I did. We teach them about entrepreneurship, venture capital, private equity, real estate. All people come in and talk about it. Our speaker program is incredible. I mean, all of my guests are very well known, from CEO of Dale Carnegie, founders of the leading investment banks and private equity firms, and entrepreneurs and famous VCs. But it's meant to be life-changing, and it is.
I can definitely believe that.
It's boot camp. I mean, the first day, people are saying, holy what did I get myself into? And after a while, they think they're very intimidated by me.
Yeah.
But after a few weeks or a month, I think they settle down a bit.
I love it. Has anyone dropped out?
Of course.
Okay.
2 per year.
All right. That's not too bad.
It's not 2 per year. We don't want them anyway.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and we tell them, by the way, they're working on Sandy, which is my beaches company. So we've created the largest beach resource in the world, SANDEE. It's basically a Yelp for beaches for the $5 trillion a year beach tourism business. So what we've done over the last 8 years, we've cataloged more than 100 categories of data for more than 100,000 beaches in 212 countries.
Wow.
So our trademark is Choose Your Beach. Each beach is different. So we say, what's your favorite beach? It said, it doesn't matter what my favorite beach is. Each beach is different. So, for example, if you have young kids, you want food, bathroom, and a shower. If you want volleyball, we have volleyball. Swimming, surfing, barbecue. We have every category of 7 different kinds of sand, 7 different colors of sand.
So it's just like a massive encyclopedia of all the beaches in the world.
Which you can filter. It's beautiful. It's laid out. You go to sandy.com, SANDEE.com.
And that's just a passion thing, right? Because you're not monetizing that.
Oh, no. We're going to create a $1 billion company.
Oh, yeah? The beaches?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. What's the roadmap for that?
The revenue model is 2. So each beach page has 7 different sections. Hotels, restaurants are in sections. We only have 5. So when you go to Yelp, they may have 300. If you pay, you're on Yelp. And you pay by the day, by the listing, different packages. Us, we sell the listings on a yearly basis. So it could be $250 to $995 per year for the listing for each page. So our model is, we've identified the 10,000 most popular beaches in the world. We very carefully select the restaurants that are listed on the page. And then we go out and we sell the listings to the restaurants and hotels. So we think we can achieve between $5,000 and $10,000 per page.
Wow.
For the 10,000 most popular beaches in the world. So if you do the math, if we get $5,000 per page for 10,000 pages, that's a $50 million recurring annual rev run rate. And for certain beaches in Miami or Los Angeles, we're going to get probably $20,000 per page.
Wow, I could see that. I've never even heard of this industry, so you seem to be the only big player in it right now, right?
That's one. Number 2 is we are going to license our data to government tourist boards and travel companies.
Got it.
So, and our data is second to none.
Yeah.
So you got to visit Florida.com. Florida does $91 billion a year in tourism revenue, number 1 source of GDP. You go to the Visit Florida website. If you take the time to spend 20 hours going through every page, which you're not going to do, and you want to see information on individual beaches, you'll find 7 individual beach pages with an average 5.3 categories of data. There's actually 727 beaches in Florida, distinct beaches, and we have over 100 categories of data for every single beach.
Wow.
In Florida.
So they're missing 720 beaches.
They're missing a lot of beaches, as is every single country. And I've met with tourism ministers in some of the largest beach countries in the world, and I say to them, first question, do you know how many beaches you have? Right? And it's the same 4 words for every single one. I have no idea.
Wow.
Which is like the CEO of Marriott not knowing how many rooms he has.
Yeah, because those are bringing in a ton of money for the country, right? The beaches.
A ton of money.
Yeah, because some of them charge to even go on, and all the food and alcohol.
It's crazy. So we're in our 8th year. We have a team now of 13 people. Our traffic is just, we haven't focused on the traffic, but we started around 7 weeks ago. Our traffic has almost tripled since that period of time.
Oh, can't wait to see that growth, man.
Yeah, super pumped.
Yeah. Also on your website, you are trying to fix homelessness in LA.
We have. I started a nonprofit function called the Imagine Ball for an organization that takes families in transitional homelessness and puts them in permanent housing, food, shelter. When we started the event, I think the nonprofit was doing 7 families per year, and I think now they're doing almost 100.
Wow, that's a lot.
So yeah, my partner in that is a guy named John Terzian who owns nightclubs. Delilah's here in Vegas, nice guy, all kinds of cool venues. He's the cool guy, so he brings in people like Dave Chappelle. Kendall Jenner has been to our function. It's very, very cool.
It's awesome.
Cool party.
I've heard the city has a lot of budget for it, but I don't see any results. Have you heard about that?
Budget for the homelessness problem?
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the most serious problems in Los Angeles. And I raise money for it. I'm dedicated to help it. But I don't know if the problem is solvable. I mean, depending on the numbers you look at, there's 40,000 to 80,000 homeless people in Los Angeles. It's the homeless capital of the United States. I mean, I don't know what amount of funding is going to fix this. There's so many mental health issues. You have mental health issues, and you have physical locations. You know, you got to put people somewhere, give them somewhere to live, and give them food and shelter, education, and a lot of them have medical problems, and many of them have mental health problems. So you can't. It's the treatment is very complicated. It's very expensive. I don't know if they threw billions of dollars at this, and they certainly have spent a lot of money on this. I'm not sure what the number is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a hard problem. So I think one person at a time is helpful. For our program, every single kid has gone to college.
Nice.
And when you think about that, it's incredible. You've changed the lineage and the path of that family and that child forever.
Yeah. Are you big on college with your kids? Is that something you want them to go to?
Yeah, I want my kids to definitely go to college. I think education is the most important investment in yourself that you can make.
Okay.
My parents taught me that. I mean, there's so much information now out there. Is college worth it, right? The average person today graduates college with $37,000 in student debt.
But
The average person, it takes, I think, 21 years to pay off their debt.
wow.
So you gotta really look at the numbers, and it's interesting. You know, you look at what a starting plumber makes these days, over $80,000 a year. Starting truck driver, you can make up to $120,000 a year. I'm not saying that you want to be a truck driver or a plumber, but there are a lot of trades where you don't need to go to school. You've got people like Peter Thiel, you know, basically paying people, don't go to school and I'll fund you if you have something that I like. But for me, I think it's important. Yeah, I'm not sure you learn a lot of practical skills, but I think the development in the intellectual way of thinking, and most importantly, I think the social part of college is critical. Being away from home, you know, making new friends. I mean, you're 18 years old typically when you go to college. I went in one way and I came out a different way. I was a shy, nerdy kid, stuttered a little bit, and then, you know, came out. I was a little cooler. You know, when I graduated, I had a lot more friends.
Some facial hair.
I had fun. I had a little facial hair.
I love that. I think there's pros and cons. I agree with your take on the debt standpoint. If you're paying $50K a year, maybe there's other better options, right?
Yeah.
Because Harvard is like, and you mentioned the Ivy League your daughter goes through. Those are probably like $50K a year.
Her tuition's $83,000.
Holy, it's up to $80K a year.
Yeah,
now?
just 83.
Oh my god.
With no housing.
And that includes food or no?
Oh no, nothing. No housing, no food. No. I mean, and you know, it's expensive. I mean, it's over $100,000 a year I spend for her to go to school. Her sister goes to Wisconsin. They're twins.
Yeah.
Good student as well. Phi Beta Kappa. He just went Phi Beta Kappa, which is incredible. And I think her tuition's like $67,000.
Jeez, you're dishing out almost $200K just for 2 college.
Oh, more. I've got a third son in college
keeps
as
on
well.
going.
Yeah, he goes to Menlo College up north. And for a while, I mean, he's got the gene too. I mean, he's flipping shoes, and he got me into shoes. And
Those are good shoes, man.
thank you so much. Street hawkers. I brought a bunch of shoes.
Yeah.
On my trip. That's my thing. I think you want to be unique. I love shoes. I mean, I'm 55 years old.
Yeah.
And my son says, Dad, you can't wear those shoes. I'm wearing those shoes. Shoes are my thing. But for a while, I mean, he's making money on Supreme and flipping shoes.
Yeah.
And he said, Dad, I'm not going to college. I said, Oh, really, Charlie? Where are you going to live? I'm going to start
Did you
business.
kick your kids out at 18?
I would. I love my kids. I would never kick them out of anything in the world. I mean, I would do anything for my kids. When I talk about my kids, I get tear up talking about my kids. But I would never kick them out. He came around on his own going to college.
Yeah.
And so I'm pumped he's there. So
Okay.
he's made a lot of friends up there. He's up in Menlo Park. There's a big tech scene up there. He's got a great summer job. AI company this summer. So he's happy he went, and I'm obviously happy he went. But yeah, I'm very big on college. If you can afford it, I think the value is there.
I think if you take advantage of it, right? Because the networking, some people don't take advantage of at college.
Yeah. I mean, my son is a great networker. So, he has friends he's a skater, right? So he met all these kids at the park, and at some point, there were kids who didn't have their own boards, right?
Yeah.
They didn't. You could tell they wore the same clothes every day. So he would give them a bunch of boards, and which is super cool. And then they'd come to the house, and we have a pipe at the house, so they'd come over and skate. And all these friends, they had absolutely no money, I mean whatsoever. And then he's got friends that he's met who have, he's got a couple friends. I went to dinner with one of his friends and his very well known dad, who according to Forbes is worth I think $7 billion.
Wow.
And it's he's making great connections with people.
That's cool.
He's great with people, and my kids are all very, very different. But he's definitely got the gene. One day maybe I'll be working for Charlie.
That's cool, man. Did you have a say in their friends and their dating partners growing up, or did
Never.
you let them choose?
No, never. I mean,
Okay.
you got to be hands off. The more you tell your kids something, the more they're going to push back. So,
Helicopter parents, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was very hands on with my kids. Ex-wife was as well, and she did a great job with them. We live very nicely, but we want to raise very humble kids in Los Angeles. I mean, I've made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the kids live well. I mean, our house, we have a crazy house, but we don't have a jet. I don't pay for first class tickets. We got upgraded. I buy things on sale. And I'm cost conscious.
Yeah.
Not because I'm cheap, because I value a dollar. I mean, here we are. We're in Las Vegas. If I spend $100 while I'm here, it'll be shocking.
Really?
Yeah, just because I grew up without money, and I value money, and I don't like gambling it.
No, I like that, man. When you asked to borrow the car, I was like, yeah, screw it, man. I'm about that.
Yeah. So just tell people. I mean, today we're closing a deal. We're selling a short-term rental property in Nashville, and then while I'm sitting here, we got a message from someone, you got to get this paper notarized.
Yeah.
And I said, by when? He said, today. And they're in Nashville 2 hours ahead. And I'm like, and I had a little break between my show and this show. I said, can I borrow your car? And he said, sure. So I took the keys. Nice G-Wagon, by the way. I think hugs you as you're turning. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? I think it's pretty sick.
The tax write-off. I don't even like cars, but
Yeah.
last year was a good year, so I just bought it,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You into cars or
No, I'm not. I didn't even know what a G-Wagon was till I
Yeah.
bought it. I literally went there and said, I need a car that's over 6,000 pounds.
Yeah.
What do you got? And that was there.
Yeah.
What do you think about him?
The G-Wagon?
Yeah.
I was great. I mean, I rode him one, I don't know, 10 years ago, and the thing was very rocky. I mean, you could feel every bump. This was nice.
Yeah. I
Really
feel that.
nice. I mean, I love how it hugs you as you're turning, right around.
Did you do the seat massage?
I didn't want to touch the car. So what we were saying in the car is, you'll get a valet on the car.
Yeah.
They'll change the seat, they'll change the mirror and change the settings. So one thing, I think it's a respect issue. So Matt and I were driving over and like, I'm not going to touch anything. So I was a little close to the windshield, but I just think it's a little disrespectful. You just loaned me your car, which is crazy nice. I appreciate it. I'm not touching anything.
I love
Turn up
that,
the
man.
volume, I think, a little bit on the radio, and I think that was it.
I appreciate it. You took care of him.
Yeah.
Dude, anything you want to promote or close off with? This was really fun.
Yeah, I want to promote my podcast, In Search of Excellence. It's blowing up right now. I've had some amazing people on my show, from Mike Tyson, Dana White yesterday, you, Lele Pons. I've had David Rubenstein, private equity side, Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary. Kevin cried on my show as well.
Wow.
That was great.
I'm going to watch that one.
Yeah, so I'm writing a book called Extreme Preparation. I have a coffee table book. I'm a drone photographer of my beach drone photos. It's been a bestseller. Sold over 10,000 copies of that.
Wow.
And most important thing is for people to go to sandy.com. We need the traffic, and if you love the site, just tell people about it. But you can find me on YouTube, my show In Search of Excellence on YouTube, at Randall Kaplan on Instagram, and that's it for right now.
All right, cool. We'll link it all below. Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for
Congratulations
watching.
on all your success.
Thanks, man. It means a lot. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.